Hi all, welcome to my channel Study and Survive. In the last class we have discussed about series connection of resistors and how such circuits can be analyzed, and we have also discussed about Kirchhoff's voltage law. In this class we are going to discuss about the parallel connection of resistors and how such circuits can be analyzed by using Kirchhoff's current law or KCL. So let us see first how parallel connection can be identified in a given circuit. Okay. Now consider the given circuit. In this circuit you can see that you are given a voltage supply, then two resistors are connected as shown here. So two resistors R1 and R2. So if you mark the current, you can see that because of the applied voltage a current I will flow, and at this particular junction the current I will divide into two. The current I divides into two, that is into I1 and I2. I1 will flow through R1 and I2 will flow through R2. So how will you identify how the resistors are connected? If you consider this particular point, if you consider these 2 points, let's name it as A and B. So if you redraw like this, you can see that R1 is connected between A and B, right? Similarly, R2 is also connected between A and B. Now if you see that these two resistors have two common points in between them, and this type of connection can be considered as a parallel connection. And in a parallel connection, as you can see, different current flow through different parallel branch, but the potential drop across each parallel branch is same, and in this particular case it is equal to the applied voltage. So in series connection you can see that the same current will flow through all the element, right? Same current will flow through all the element, right? So this is a series connection and this is a parallel connection. So in parallel connection different current will flow through these elements, whereas in series connection same current will flow through it. In parallel connection the voltage drop across these elements will be same, across R1 and R2 will be same, whereas in this case the voltage drop will be different, right? V1 and V2, and in this case the voltage drop across each element is equal to the applied voltage. Okay, so now we will consider another circuit so that you will become more clear, and you can how to identify the series connection as well as the parallel connection of resistance. Okay. Now consider this circuit. In this circuit you are given a power supply, then three resistances R1, R2 and R3. They are connected in this manner. Now how will you identify which connection is parallel, and is there any parallel connection in this circuit or a series connection in the circuit? How can you identify? Consider this section, this part of the circuit. You can see that if you consider this particular point, first we will mark the current. Because of the applied voltage a current I will flow through the circuit. At this point the current will divide into two, I1 and I2, and at this point the current will flow as I1 and I2 will come like this, and the current flow will be completed like this. Okay. Now you can see that if you consider these 2 points, both ends of the resistors, these 2 ends are connected to this common point and these 2 ends are connected to this common point, which means this connection is R2 and R3 is in parallel. R2 is parallel to R3. Now this particular combination is in series with R1, because if you redraw this circuit like this, you can redraw it like this. And it can be written like this: R2 parallel R3, and this is R1. Okay, now if you see, the entire current I will flow, the same current I is flowing through both R1 as well as R2 parallel R3, which means these two resistances are in series. So this figure can be redrawn again like this, as this can be replaced by a single resistor, and the value of the single resistor is written as R equivalent is equal to R1 plus R2 parallel or 3. So this is how you will identify whether a particular connection is in parallel or series. Here you can see two points are common, which means these are in parallel, and here you can see one point is common, therefore these two resistors are in series. Now we will see how to calculate the equivalent resistance of two resistances connected in parallel. Now we will see how equivalent resistance of two resistances connected in parallel can be calculated. In our previous class we have discussed about parallel connection and how equivalent resistances are calculated. Let us recollect it once again. So 1 by R equivalent is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. Okay, so R equivalent will be what? 1 by R equivalent will be R1 plus R2 divided by R1 plus R1 R2, which implies R equivalent will be is equal to R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2. This is how you calculate the equivalent resistance when two resistances are there. So if there are more resistances, then the equation will become 1 by R equivalent is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus how many resistors are there, up to that much resistance you have to add the reciprocal. Okay, so this is how you will calculate the equivalent resistance of a given parallel circuit. Now we will see how the current through the circuit can be calculated, and we will be discussing Kirchhoff's current law. So now let us discuss Kirchhoff's current law. So Kirchhoff's current law states that the algebraic sum of the current entering a particular point is equal to the algebraic sum of the current leaving that particular point. So which means that if you consider this circuit, you can see that which is the current entering. If you consider the particular point, we will discuss with respect to both these points A and B, so that things will be more clear to you. So with respect to the point A, the current entering the point A is I, and the current leaving the point A is I1 and I2. So according to KCL, the algebraic sum of the current entering a point is equal to the algebraic sum of the current leaving that point, that is I1 plus I2. This is at A. And if you consider at point B, what is it? The current, this is I. Okay, so algebraic, which is the current entering the point, it is I1 and I2. Therefore it is written as I1 plus I2, and current leaving the point is I. So this can be written as I is equal to I1 plus I2. So the algebraic sum of the current entering the point is equal to the algebraic sum of the current leaving the point, that is I1 plus I2. So this is how you write the equation for the current according to KCL. Now how can you find out the individual current, individual branch current? I1 is equal to E by R1 and I2 is equal to E by R2. If you substitute this in the final equation, the total current will be given by E into 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. So you know that this is the equation for the 1 by R equivalent, right? So this can be written as, so I is given by E by R equivalent. So in order to find the total current of this particular given circuit, you have to divide the voltage E divided by the equivalent resistance. Now we will see a small problem so that the concept will be clear to you. Okay. So you are given a circuit like this and you are asked to find out the total current I as well as the branch currents I1 and I2. So how you will solve the circuit? First, you have to find out the value of the equivalent resistance, right? No, first we will find out the branch current. I1 is equal to 9 E by R1, right? 9 divided by 12K. That is equal to that is 3 by 4. Therefore 0.75 milliampere. And I2 is given by E by R2, that is 9 divided by 15, and it is 3 by 5 and it is 0.75 6 milliampere, right? Now, if you apply KCL at this point A, you will get I is equal to I1 plus I2, right? I1 is given as 0.75 and I2 is given as 0.6. Now we will get it as 1.35 milliampere. The total current is 1.35 milliampere. So there is another way also. You can, for solving a particular network, there will be many ways. So this is one of the method, and in other words, you can find out the value of the total current directly by finding out R equivalent. R equivalent, how you will find out? R equivalent is given by 12 into 15 divided by 12 plus 15, and you will get a particular value, say x here, and I will be given as E by x. But for finding the branch current, you have to use this particular method only. Okay, so this is how you will solve a given problem. Now we will discuss about current divider circuit in the current divider rule. We have discussed about a voltage divider rule in our previous class. Similarly, in case of parallel circuit, the network will be current divider. So we will study current divider rule. Okay. So consider our very basic circuit itself. In this circuit, you can see that because of the applied voltage, a current I will flow, and at this particular junction, the current will divide into two, that is I1 and I2, right? So I is dividing into I1 and I2. So in this case, we can say that the main current is dividing, and hence this circuit can be also called as current divider. But in series connection, what is happening? The entire applied voltage is dividing between these two resistances, right? If it is V, the entire applied voltage is dividing between these two resistances. Therefore, it is called as voltage divider. Here, the entire current is divided into two, and hence the circuit is called as current divider. Now, let us see how the branch current can be found out by using the current divider rule. So, we know that E is equal to I into R equivalent, right? So, R equivalent, what is the value? I into R1 into R2 divided by R1 plus R2. We have already discussed about this. 1 by R equivalent is R1 plus R2 divided by R1 into R2. So I into R equivalent will be R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2. So now the branch current will be what? I1 is equal to E by R1. So if we substitute the value of E in this equation, this will be I divided by R1 into R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2. This R1 and R1 get cancelled. So the equation will become I into R2 divided by R1 plus R2. So if you look at this equation, you can see that the branch current I1 is given by the main current I into the resistance of the other branch. You are considering this particular branch, the current through this particular branch. So the main current into resistance through the other branch, that is R2 divided by sum of the individual resistances R1 and R2. So this is how you will write the equation for I1. Now how you will calculate I2? I2 will be E by R1. Again substituting the value of E in this equation, this will be I divided by R1 into R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2. I divided by R2, E by R2. Okay, this R2 and R2 get cancelled. So this equation will become I into R1 divided by R1 plus R2. So this can be like this. The current through the branch, this particular branch, the current through R2, that is I2, is equal to main current I into resistance through the other branch, that is R1 divided by R1 plus R2. I hope this is clear. So whenever you are asked to find out a particular the current through a particular branch, then what you have to do is that you have to write the main current I into the resistance of the other branch divided by sum of the resistance. This can be applied when there are two parallel branches. So when there are multiple parallel branches, let us see how we will write the equation. Okay. Now consider this circuit. In this circuit you can see that there are three parallel branches with the resistances R1, R2 and R3. Now let us see how we will write the branch currents for this particular circuit if we apply the current divider rule. So E is equal to I into R equivalent. We already know that. So what is the value of I1? I1 will be E by R1. So instead of E, we will write it as I into R equivalent divided by R1. Here the value of R equivalent will not be R1 R2 by R1 plus R2. Here R equivalent will be, here 1 by R equivalent is given as 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. This is how we have to find out the R equivalent. Then we have to substitute the value of R equivalent in this and divide it by the branch, the resistance of that particular branch we are considering. So I1 is the main current into R equivalent by resistance through that particular branch. Similarly, I2 is given by E by R2. Okay, then again I into R equivalent divided by R2, and I3 is given by E by R3, and it will be equal to I into R equivalent by R3. So this is how you will write the current divider for a circuit having more than two branches. I hope it is clear to you. Now we will do a small problem so that it will become more clear. Before that, if there are n such branches, then how you will write the equation? In will be equal to E into I into R equivalent. In is equal to I into R equivalent divided by resistance through that particular branch Rn. This is how you will write the current of a particular branch. Say it is sixth branch, then I6 is equal to I into R equivalent by resistance through that branch R6. Okay, now we will see a problem. Now in this problem we will see how we will solve this using current divider method. Okay, so we know that to find this, first of all we have to find the equivalent resistance. So it will be equal to 1 by R equivalent will be equal to 1 by 2 plus 1 by 6K plus 1 by 3.2K plus 1 by 4.8K. And if you calculate this in the calculator, and you will get the value of the equivalent resistance as approximately 842 ohm, right? Now to calculate the value of E, we need I also. So how you will now we need to find the value of the branch current, we need the value of I also. So I is equal to E divided by R equivalent, and it will be what? 842 divided by not 842, it is 24 divided by 842, and this will be approximately equal to 28.5 milliampere. Okay, now if you apply the current divider, I1 will be what? I1 is equal to I1 is equal to I into R equivalent divided by R1, and this will be 28.5 milliampere into the value of the equivalent resistance is 842 ohm, and R1, the value of R1 will be 2 kilo ohm. And now if you calculate this particular thing in the calculator, you will get the value as approximately equal to 12 milliampere. Okay, 12 milliampere. Similarly, the value of I2 will be I into R equivalent divided by R2, and that will be, if you substitute all these values, instead of R2 you will be substituting 6 kilo ohm, and you will, if you solve this, you will get it as approximately equal to 4 milliampere. Similarly, if you find out the value of I3, you will be writing I into R equivalent divided by R3, and if you solve it, you will get the value of the current as approximately equal to 7.5 milliampere, right? And the value of I4 will be I into R equivalent divided by R4, and this will be equal to 5 milliampere. 5 milliampere. So this is how you will find the branch current, and if you add the individual current, you will get this total current will be equal to 28.5 milliampere. This is how you solve the circuit using current divider. But you can also, this is a complicated method, but you can easily solve this by simply finding the branch current. If you you can find the branch current by E by 2K, that is 24 divided by 2, and I2 will be equal to 24 divided by 6. I3 will be equal to 24 divided by 3.2, and I4 is equal to 24 divided by 4.8. In this way also you can find the individual branch current. Then if you apply the KCL at this point, it will be I1 plus I2 plus I3 plus I4, and you will if you add all this current, you will get it as 28.5 milliampere. So you can you try to solve the network using that method also. In this case, that particular method is easy. I used this to just show you how the current divider can be applied. Okay. Now we will see how power in a parallel connected circuit can be, how power in a circuit where resistances are connected in parallel can be calculated. So as in the case of series connection also, the total power will be equal to the sum of the individual powers, that is P will be equal to P1 plus P2. If there are more than 2, then it will be P3 plus dot dot dot. How much is there? We just need to add all the individual powers. So we will directly try to solve the problem so that things will be clear to you. Consider this particular circuit in which you are given two resistances, 12 ohm and 15 ohm, and the supply voltage is 9 volt. So we know that the equation of the power is E into I or E into I. So in this case you can find out the value of I, right? So I1 will be what? I1 will be 9 divided by 12, and it is 0.75, and I2 will be equal to 9 divided by 15, and it will be equal to 0.6 ampere, right? So total current I will be what? 1.35 ampere, right? If you add this 0.75 plus 0.6, it will be 1.35 ampere. So the power will be 9 into 1.35, and it will be equal to 12.15 watt. So this is the simplest way of finding the value of the power. Okay, we can find out the branch current, we can find out the main current by applying KCL at this particular point. Then we will get it as 1.35 ampere. Substitute the value of I in this particular point, and you will get the power as 12.15 volt. Now we will see how we can calculate the total power by calculating the individual power. Okay. So we know that P1 is equal to I1 squared into R1. What is the value of I1 here? 0.75 squared into what is the value of R1? 12, and this will be approximately equal to 6.75. Now P2 will be equal to I2 squared into R2, and what is the value of I2? It is 0.6 squared into the value of R2 is 15 ohm, and this will be equal to 5.4 watt. This will be watt. Okay, so total power is P1 plus P2, that is 6.75 plus 5.4, and this will be 12.15 watt. And this is how you will calculate the total power by calculating the individual powers. Depending on the problem and what is asked in the question, you have to choose the correct method and solve the problem accordingly. Now we will see how an open circuit and short circuit will affect the parallel connection. Now consider this circuit. Now we will see how open circuit and short circuit will affect the current in this particular circuit. So if you apply the KCL at this particular point, in this circuit the value of the total current will be given by I is equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3. The current leaving the particular node will be I1, I2 and I3, and the current entering the node is I. So therefore if you apply the KCL, I is equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3. Now if there is an open circuit in this particular branch, okay, what will happen? So the main current I will flow, but it will not flow through this branch, right? But it will flow through I2 as well as I3. Now if you apply the KCL, how can you write? The total current I will be equal to I2 plus I3, because there is no I1. I1 is equal to 0 in this case. So if you apply the KCL, then you can see that the current entering this particular point is I, and the current leaving that particular point is I2 and I3. So the total current will be only I2 plus I3. Okay. That means the entire current will be divided between I2 and I3. Now if the entire voltage drop, the applied voltage will drop here, the voltage will be, the open circuit voltage will be VOC, and it will be equal to the applied voltage E, that we have already discussed in the previous class. Now if you consider another condition, okay, now if you consider another condition, that is if the open circuit is at this particular point, in this connection, in this point, then will there be any current in this particular circuit? No, because the main current will not flow beyond this. So the entire applied voltage VOC, applied voltage, will drop across this open circuit, and it will be equal to E. So in this case the current will be 0. You can see that there is no supply current. The value of I1 will be equal to 0, I2 will be equal to 0, and I3 is equal to 0. Okay, the difference between the whenever an open circuit happens in the series circuit, the entire current will become 0. But here if an open circuit appears in any one of the parallel branch, the current will not flow through that particular branch, but it will flow through the other parallel branch. That is the main difference between series connection and open circuit in the series connection and a parallel connection. Now we will consider another case when if there is a short circuit in the circuit. Okay. Now we will see what will happen when a short circuit occurs. Okay. So if you connect, if a short circuit, if you short this point, okay, then we can see that the entire current, the current always chooses a path which is having lowest resistance. So the current will flow through this particular path like this. So this and this and this will not have any effect here. So in this case the value of the current, that is the short circuit current, will be E divided by, in most of the cases this the value of the usually this in problems and all, the internal resistance of this particular power supply is given if you are asked to find out the short circuit current. So if you consider the internal resistance of the power supply as R, then the short circuit current will be E by R, and the value of the current will be very high, and since it is appearing directly across the supply, there is a chance that this will damage the power supply, because this will be a very large current. Short circuit current will be E by R, because the internal resistance is very small, the current will be very high, and if such a high current flow through this thing, it will damage the device. Okay, so these are the three things that will happen when there is an open circuit or short circuit in a parallel circuit. Now let us see a problem so that you will be more clear how it is affecting the circuit. Now you are given a circuit like this, and you are given 3 questions. We will solve this one by one. Okay, so in the first case we are asked to find out the value of the main current I when R1 is open. R1 is open means this particular branch is open. Okay, so we know that the value of if you apply KCL, at this point, if R1 is open means this particular branch the current will be 0, right? So the total current, if an open circuit comes at this point, this particular branch current will not flow through this particular branch. So if you apply KCL, then the current will be I is equal to I2 plus I3 plus I4. I is equal to I2 plus I3 plus I4. So what is the value of I2? I2 will be 24 divided by 6K plus I3 will be 24 divided by 3.2K plus I4 will be 24 divided by 4.8K, and this will be equal to 6.5 milliampere if you calculate it. Okay, 16.5 milliampere. Now, if you consider open circuit in R3 and R4, the second case, that is if an open circuit is in these two branches, then this will not be there, current will not flow. So, if you apply KCL, you will get it as I is equal to what? I1 plus I2. And what is the value of I1? I1 will be 24 divided by 2 and I2 will be 24 divided by 6, and this will be equal to 12 plus 4, that is 16 milliampere. Now the third condition is that if you apply a short at R4, if you connect a short circuit like this, now this entire resistance will not have any effect. So the short circuit current ISC will be given by E divided by internal resistance R, that is 24 divided by 0.1, and it will be 240 ampere. Okay. Now see the value of this short circuit current, how bigger it is compared to these two currents. So this is when such a large current flow through the circuit, it will damage the circuit because it is appearing directly across the power supply. Okay, so whenever you are solving a numerical problem, try to analyze the value also, so that you can see the variations happening in the circuit when open circuit and short circuit. Here you see the differences, you see the difference in the current when one particular branch is open, when two branches are open. Then if a short circuit appears, you can see the variation in the value of the current, that is 2, it will become very high. So this is how an open circuit and short circuit will affect the parallel circuit. So whenever you are given to analyze, whenever you are analyzing a circuit, don't just simply do the problem and leave it. You just analyze the values of the different parameters also. It is the best way to study a circuit and how different connections will affect the values of the current and voltage. If you study like that, if you are appearing for some competitive examinations and all, higher level competitive examination, it will help you to eliminate the options like this may not be the answer for this, cannot be possible for this particular question. Like that you can eliminate the options. But if you analyze, only thing you have to do is that when you do a numerical, you simply analyze the circuit, the values of different parameters, and just see how these particular parameters are affecting the values of these things. When open circuit happens, what will happen? When short circuit happen, the value of the current will become this much, which means that here itself you can see the variation. This is how you have to analyze a circuit. Now we have studied different techniques to solve the series connection, parallel connection. So if you are given a circuit and try to and asked to find out the value of the current, then there will be many methods, and then how to choose a particular method depend on the question. So if you are asked to find out the branch current, then you have to find out the individual branch current. In some question they will not be asking you to find out the branch current, they will be simply asking to find out the value of the total current. Then you have to solve the network accordingly. So choose a method which matches that particular question the best, so that you will get the answer very quickly. So this is how to solve the problem. Whatever questions I have discussed in this particular class, it can be solved in different ways. I have chosen a particular method to show you how to apply the things which I have taught you. So you can choose any of these methods to do the problem. This particular problem can be done in different ways. So whenever you are solving the problem, take one question, try to solve it in different way, so that you can see what is the difference, which method is easier, like that you can find out. So now I hope that whatever I have taken in this class is very clear to you. Now we have completed the individual connection, series connection and parallel connection. In the next class we will be discussing a complete circuit which contains both series and parallel connection, and we will see how such circuits can be solved. So if you have liked my video, and if you are sure that this video will be useful to others, kindly share this video with others and like my video, and please subscribe this channel. Thank you.